The most important thing in language learning is vocabulary. You need to learn a lot of words and you need to learn them fast. And you also need to learn complete sentences. Grammar is not that important, studying grammar. If you know the words and if you learn the words in actual sentences that you're going to use with your language islands, you will not need to study grammar at all. You will just learn to use it in context. All right. So you need to learn as many words as possible using mnemonic associations. This is the fastest way to do it. You create associations and you memorize the words, and you can easily memorize over 100 words a day this way. Right. You should do it with the vocab of all your language island sentences for all the things you want to be able to say, and then for all the vocab in the frequency lists, the most common verbs, the most common adjectives, and the most common nouns, and all the example sentences. You should use mnemonic associations to memorize all the vocab in those, and then review those sentences again and again by reading and listening and shadowing them, right? But some languages are more complicated than others. Some languages have really complicated grammar. I know Spanish or French, for example, are more complicated than English when it comes to grammar. But there are some other languages that are even more complicated because instead of having a lot of small grammar words, let's call them that, like the les, all that in Spanish, instead of that, you change the words themselves. Like my native language, for example, Basque, or in Turkish, like in this example. You take one word and then you get lots of different versions of that word, lots of different endings depending on uh, what you're talking about. Yeah. So for cases like that, what I recommend you do is once you've got your example sentences of all the vocabulary and also your language islands, the sentences you want to learn to say, when you're memorizing the vocab, I recommend you copy it and paste it on ChatGPT like this, and you tell ChatGPT to give you a breakdown of the grammar. Yeah, I'm normally against studying grammar rules, but this will be helpful, and I'm going to show you how. So, if let's say this means to write, yes, yes, but you'll see, I don't know how many. My Turkish is very basic, but you'll see lots and lots of different versions of this. Like yazıyorsun comes from this, but then it's you are writing in singular, and you people are writing will be another one. My native language is like that. Idazten dut, idazten duzu, idazten dugu, idatzi genuen. It's infinite variations. So to learn those, if you paste it here, you know now the root word. So you should memorize this as right. So this is very easy to visualize. Jazz music, just whatever comes to mind when you think of jazz music. Uh, all these stereotypical things, and then you visualize them doing a lot of writing using big typewriters or something, for example, whatever works best, and you actually visualize it, right? So you can easily visualize the vibes themselves. But then you should probably learn how all these things work, because this is right. This thing here means that it's writing, yeah. So it's like the ing, and then the soon here is you are writing. But then if you look at the word, it's not you are writing, is write. Uh, yeah, write, and then writing you are, and it's all one word. So, and then if it's negative, you'll have some other. I think it's me in between. It's not like no, blah blah blah. It's this, and then the no is in the middle of the word. So it just keeps adding more and more layers. So what I suggest you do is memorize the words separately like this. So yeah, yeah, yes. You visualize this like as jazz, similar enough, or whatever works for you best. You create the association for this, and then you create another association for ing. I use engineer because kind of engineering because kind of it uses the same letters. You should have those like little because uh, there's no image for this, right? So something that sounds like this. So engineer works for me. Um, and then this is your. So York, York. York is a city in England. Really, really nice. It's a medieval city. Vikings were there. Yeah, it's easy to visualize for me because I've been there. Um, so engineers in York, and for engineers, I visualize the creepy, really big white guy from. I guess that describes me as well. No, the what's from one of the alien films, the one that's sleeping and then wakes up, and Prometheus, I think. That was the engineer. We just visualize some engineer, like proper engineer, someone doing engineering work, and in York or in New York. If you haven't been, I've been to York, not to New York, so I visualize York. It's also nicer, I think, more historical and medieval. And then we visualize this last one, which is you. And for you, I always use, that good old Uncle Sam. I think it's World War I or World War II. I want you in the army. That's pointing at you. I use that for you. So each one of these grammar words, I've got an image already for them. Uh, and then son. So I want you, and then but instead of Uncle Sam, it's the sun. All right. So jazz, York, sun. And now, whenever you see this word next time, uh, instead of your writing, it's I wrote. It'll be something else. Like this part will be the same, and then these two bits will be completely different. You will recognize the initial part, and then you just bring it here again. You deconstruct it, and if you didn't know those parts again, like if it's a negative or it's whatever, like you create associations for those as well. And when you see some other verb that's using you or is using doing right now, these bits, because you associated it like that, you will recognize them when you see them. Not immediately, obviously. This will take a few tries, but the more you do it, the easier it will get. And this is how you learn grammar efficiently. Yeah. So this you are writing. Yes, your soon. Yes, your soon. What are you writing? Ne yazıyorsun? You're writing a letter. Bir mektup yazıyorsun. You're writing. Gazelle is beautiful. Visualize it as like a gazelle that's like wearing a dress and makeup and stuff in front of a mirror. And chuck is a lot or much, very. So something like that. I'm not exact. No, I haven't. I guess in context I can tell it's very beautifully. Basically makes this bigger. Like not no, it's not beautiful. It's very beautiful. So very beautifully you're writing. Çok güzel yazıyorsun. So choke is crash or clash in Spanish. So visualize a car crash with lots and lots of cars getting smashed. So I know this one, the gazelle, and then this one I just visualized. So this is slow in the beginning, but again, if you do it with how many of them did I do just in this example? Okay, 4 or 5 maybe, not that many, but you can do 100 of them with some practice in half an hour or less. And then you just review the sentences by reading and listening. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. Uh, Basically, I'm going to try another one. Ayarlıyorsunuz. Ayarlıyorsunuz. There you go. You're setting, adjusting, arranging something. You plural. Again, I really don't like all this stuff. like the all the grammar words. If you are into that, okay, good for you. But for most people, but again, for this, it's useful to break it down like this. So ayar is setting, the adjustment. Then la is okay. Yeah, this part I just I'm gonna completely ignore it because verb forming. Yeah, as a linguist, I'm really not into this kind of stuff. I'm into languages. I'm not into linguistics. Um, and then Rior, it's the same thing as earlier, right? Mm, although it's not exactly this. Your, okay, that's not an error. Your, yeah, like York earlier, and Sunus is you. So okay, now we get that this is sun, like you earlier, but then uh, the us in the end is that it's you plural. So sun is you, singular you, like two in Spanish, and because you is you in it's only one. It's singular and plural in English, but in most languages, or many languages, is singular and plural you. So then we need to visualize this one. So again, remember the uncle something you, but now uh, it's not only a son that's telling you the us thing. It's telling you the like they want you in the army thing. It's also carrying Uzi, the machine, the gun. It's a very iconic gun. Appears in a lot of films, the Uzi. Um, so was it in Terminator? Uzi 9 millimeter. Yeah, I think so. Uh, so yeah, the son with the Uzi, and it says the "I want you" thing to a bunch of people, and now you know that, right? You have to actually visualize the image, otherwise it doesn't work. And of course, lots of reviewing. And reviewing is again, if you do it with flashcards, it's going to be extremely slow and painful and tedious. So the reviewing should just be quickly rereading the sentences from a spreadsheet, or you could even print them and read them, or much better, just read them while listening once from the spreadsheet, and after that, you just listen to the audio files while you do something else. So you can get thousands of sentences reviewed per day because 1,000 sentences are less than an hour of audio. So you listen to it while doing something else all day, and you listen to your 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 sentences, your own sentences, 20 or 30 times each in a month, and you will remember them, especially if you've been doing this. All right, so we need an association for this. So set, adjust. Um, or this one's kind of weird word for things like this, like making adjustments, setting. You could go many different ways to. Since set the tennis scoring thing, I'm really not into tennis, but I think they say that too. So you could visualize tennis players, and then yar, uh, huh, can't really think of anything with yar. Again, then it also uses an L here. This thing I don't really understand what it is. I guess with some more context, eventually we'll get it. But let's just use the L as well. So ayarla, ayarla, ayarlior, ayarliorsunus. So um, Jarl is Jarl was one of those. I think was the I don't know if you watch Vikings and things like that. From I'm really into that kind of stuff. If you watch that kind of thing, Jarl uh, is the chieftain of the, I think, or it's like a warlord, or like a like one of the bosses, a Jarl. So visualize that Viking Jarl, a Viking. Uh, I think then it evolved into Earl in English. But Jarl is that, yeah. So you visualize a Viking chieftain, and then either playing tennis for the set or making adjustments. And making adjustments could be anything. It's whatever, something very out of uh, out of universe. So out of that context, something that you see in real life regularly. Whatever you make adjustments to in real life, visualize a Viking chieftain doing that, right? And then you get the Yor, which actually makes sense because Vikings founded York in the city in England I was using. Um, so yeah, there's the engineers there, and then all of these songs are very complicated in the beginning, right? But you don't need to do this with every single word. Simply, you deconstruct it and you create the associations, and then you don't need to go through the whole thing and okay, no, just you understand the sentence, keep going. The main thing is for you to be able to create associations for the verbs, and then some for the specific bits. But like this one, you do it once, this one, you do it once, and then just ignore them next time they appear, and you focus on memorizing this one because the more it's just a matter of just repetition, like reading and listening to the sentences, and the more examples you see of all of this, the faster you'll recognize it, and eventually you'll get good at breaking down you'll just naturally figure out without even having to paste it here and break this word down, break the grammar down. No, you just when you look at it, you'll know that this is the thing you have to, because all of that you recognize the bits here, because those will repeat themselves over and over again in different words. This is the thing you have to visualize, and then you'll be able to go faster and faster. So that's it. That's how you memorize a lot of words very fast in difficult languages, and also you learn all the grammar as well. Um, this looks a little bit complicated because I just spent uh, 18 minutes talking about two words, but the thing is that these are patterns, and you'll very quickly start recognizing patterns. And again, you can do this with 100 words in half an hour, 1 hour maybe, if you're not just explaining and talking the whole time. If I do it alone, I can. Today I did it with 165 words. So, so yeah, it's it can be fast if you practice, and then just lots of reviewing by reading and listening, and you you're good to go. Uh, you keep doing this, and eventually you'll learn your 1,000 to 3,000 sentences.